Hello guys and welcome to Witchcraft Criminal History. How are you doing today? Hopefully you're doing well. We're doing a Oracle deck review and this is on Goddesses and Sirens. I was finally able to get hold of this deck. And this is done by Stacy DeMarco. And yeah, so I'm really pleased that I finally got this deck. And I was just very lucky to get this deck because apparently this deck is now no longer in publication. So I was very concerned that I was going to not be able to get it because, not being in publication. But a UK company had this for sale and I was able to buy this from the UK. So this deck has travelled, from the other side of the planet to come to me, which I'm really pleased. And yeah, I quite like this deck, even though I think that they strayed off in the art compared to its male counterpart, the gods and titans. And what I mean by that is that, especially with the Egyptian goddesses, which are in here, they don't really look themselves, if you know what I'm saying. They don't really look themselves. And when we go and see those particular cards, you will know why, and I probably will discuss the reason why. And also, not only that, there's a lot of goddesses they could have used, but they didn't. And they also put women in here from history. And like one good example is Boudica. Like Boudica, and I know by the illustrations it is the same Boudica what I think of, there's actually a statue in, I think it's near Parliament House, over in the UK, or the Houses of Parliament. I know that you got Cromwell's statue there as well, but I think Boudica's is either there or very close to it, because Boudica was known as a warrior queen in Britain, which is modern day England. And she was actually a historical figure. She was a real person. So why is she in here? I am not entirely sure. Why they put her in here, when there are plenty of other goddesses, from other faiths, other religions all around the globe. But that being said, apart from those inconsistencies, and they're not really doing the homework particularly with goddesses and all that, it's still really beautiful deck. And I figure that this one, compared to the Gods and Titans, actually go into voodooism, which I think is really cool. Because I'm actually currently reading a book on voodoo, and one of these goddesses in this deck is part of voodoo. So yeah, so they've got some voodoo in here. So those of you who like voodoo, yeah, there's one in here, and I'll shout her out when she comes to it. Alright, but that's just, my little rant on it. But anyway, this is what the box looks like. That's the front of the box, side of the box, and the back of the box. Alright, and this deck, it comes with this guidebook, which is really good, and it's good to brush up on your history and all that, or with your deities, and you get things like that. And once again, this is Helena Troy. Once again, this is more of a historical figure, so they didn't really do much about it. Much research. And anyway, and here is the spreads in front of the book. So you got you got spreads, and you got the information, which is really great. Alright, the back of the cards look like this. This is what they look like at the back of the cards. Good cardstock, because I know I have seen reviews and they said it was like paper, but this isn't that, which is really good. Decent size, which is good. Right, let's have a look at the cards. Amaterasu, self-esteem. Andromachi, strength. Aphrodite, self-love. Artemis, individuation. Athena, strategy. Baba Yaga, authenticity. And that's the one to do with voodoo. So, yeah, we got one for voodoo. So, yeah, that one is it. Bast, play. And this is what I mean, you know, compared to the other deck. You know, Bastet, you know, they have cats in the background, but if you want to be picky, you're supposed to have a cat as well. So, yeah. But there's quite a few issues in regards to that when it comes on there. Boudica, unity. And, you know, remember what I was telling you about Boudica, you know, fighting the Romans, you know, being the queen. And that is Roman soldiers around that figure. Same person, guys, same person. But more wondering, she was really angry at them for what the Romans did, because apparently the Romans caught her and her family. She had a young family, had daughters, and the Romans sexually assaulted her daughters. Not a good idea to do to Boudica. So, yeah, that's Boudica. Bridget, healing. Estuary, new beginnings. Freya, irresistibility. Gaia, creation. Hathor, contentment. You know, and once again, they have not really done this poor goddess right, because the simple fact is that with Hathor, she's supposed to have a head of an ox. And this is the first illustration I've ever seen of Hathor being pregnant. Because if you're going to do that to Hathor, then do it to Aphrodite. And they have Aphrodite in here, and she is not pregnant. And both of them are goddesses of love. So, why have you made Hathor pregnant? Why? I don't know. I don't know why you made Hathor, the goddess of love, pregnant. I don't know. I know there were some myths that she had Horus's children, but then again there were some myths saying that she was also Horus's mother. And there was but it gets a bit confusing anyway. Hathor. Hecate, illumination. Helen of Troy, beauty. And I think the main reason why they probably used Helen of Troy, you know, for beauty, because they said that she was extremely beautiful, and that's the reason why the Trojan War started. But that was mainly because Athena, I think it was, yeah, Athena, Aphrodite, and I think it was Hera, were manipulating things where they shouldn't have been manipulating in. And I think it was actually Aphrodite pretty much offered her a surprise, and if actually not a surprise, as a bribery to win a beauty contest. That what started the Trojan War, according to the Iliad. So a little bit of useless information about Helen of Troy. Hera, commitment. And like, let's say something, you know, we talk about goddesses that had children. Hera here pretty much had every single child, you know, to the Greek pantheon. Why isn't she pregnant? She's also the goddess of marriage. Why? And why she's faithful to Zeus? I don't know. Zeus wasn't faithful to her. Remind you who want to piss off Zeus. But, you know, once again, you know, she had many, many children. Stacks of children and grandchildren. So, why are they making poor half-full pregnant? I don't know. Anyway, hair up. Isis, protection. And once again, what happened to her head? You know, what do they do to Isis? Chile, release. Joan d'Arc. Faith. If this is who I think it is, supposed to be Joan of Arc, as a historical figure, once again, Stacy, a historical figure. She did actually exist, and she was actually burnt at the stake. If this is Joan of Arc, or supposed to be Joan of Arc, and you decided to put in French. I think it's French. They didn't really do their homework. Kali, fear. I think that's a nice, you know, a nice, beautiful card. Kuan Yin, compassion. Lakshmi, prosperity. Lilith, equality. Ma'at, justice. And once again, what happened to her head? What happened to it? I don't think Thoth would be too happy. Well, not Thoth, or Toph, sorry. Toph wouldn't be too happy, seeing that's his wife. Poor Matt. Morgan Le Fay, magic. And once again, this is not really a historical figure, this is a mythological figure. And as far as I know, the devil King Arthur, this wasn't a goddess. It was just somebody who kind of pissed him off, who was a witch. The Muses, inspiration. Nut, expansionist. And once again, fair enough with Nut, even though they look like it says Nut, but it's pronounced as Nut. Like, I know what Nut, you know, supposed to look like. Like, yes, she does look human compared to the others. She does look human. However, she isn't blue for starters, and she's always an arch. Always an arch. That is no arch. She looks like she's about to kick ass. No. Not when you have to deal with Ra and what's the other one? Well, there's another god. I just can't think of his name because they were not allowed. She was not allowed to make love to her husband Geb. So her father, on the orders of Ra, separated, and that's the reason why she's an arch. So why? No. Aya, power. Pele, purpose. Persephone, cycle. And I really think that this was actually quite a good one, personally. I've been having a lot of gripes with the rest of the cards. With Persephone being, for a cycle, because, she is a cycle. She's also Hades' wife. And I say they got this as being put in Tartarus. That's what it is. This is supposed to be Tartarus. But she's only in Tartarus for, I think, about 6 months. 6 months of the year. Other times, she's up with her mum. Because if she's not up with her mum, Demeter, Demeter chucks a big hissy fit. Because she doesn't like the fact that her daughter got married to Hades. Or tricked to marry him. And that's the reason why he got the cycles of the seasons. Anyway, Persephone. Pomona, plenty. Otesh, pleasure. Rhiannon, self-trust. I think that's a beautiful, beautiful card. Especially like horses. Settlement. Reduction. And once again, her head. Her head's supposed to be of a lion. They got, I think, there's supposed to be a lion behind her, but she's supposed to have the head of a lion. And why reduction? Because she does a bit of a counter. She kind of digs herself, with Sekhmet. Because she's the goddess of plagues and destruction, but she's also the goddess of medicine and healing. Well, maybe because being reduction, maybe it's for the latter. It is, for plagues and illnesses and that and destruction. In some mythologies, that Sekhmet is pretty much Bast on a bad day. But we don't really know whether Bast or Bastet and Sekhmet are the same goddess. We don't know, but Sekhmet. Shilanagig, gateways. Sirens, temptation, which is quite appropriate. Which, is very, very, appropriate, being temptation. Heck, they could have even gone away with it being mermaids. Putting there saying sirens. Because both mermaids and sirens pretty much did the same thing. Lured sailors to the death by their beautiful song. Both mermaids would do it and, sirens would do it. And I wouldn't put it past it that they'd actually one and the same. So, temptation, definitely appropriate. Valkyries, redemption. Vesta, home. White Buffalo Woman, peace. Yemaya, hope. Yeah, so, this is a beautiful deck, and you already heard me griping about certain cards. Especially with the Egyptian ones, why have they not been, why haven't they done their homework? That's my biggest gripe with this deck. Either Stacy didn't do her homework. I think it'd be more likely to be Stacy than the artist. But with the artistry with some of these cards, then that is Jimmy Manton. He hasn't done justice to a lot of the Egyptian pantheon. Didn't do his research of finding out what these goddesses look like. And I wouldn't put it past it if they got the Egyptian ones wrong. I know with the Greek, that's left up for interpretation. But, especially with other ones, which I don't really know, too much about. There was very, very little research done with this deck, and that's my biggest gripe. There's not much research. They went into historical figures. They are not goddesses, and they're not sirens. So, why put them in this deck? Why? Like I said, there's heaps of goddesses they could have used. Heaps. They didn't go into the Roman pantheon. They could have gone there. They could have gone, more into the Aztec, the Mayans, more, because they also have goddesses. I can't think of any of the top of my head, but I know they do. And, really, there wasn't really done, it was a bit disappointing that there's not much, that they haven't done, she hasn't done her research in this. Like, really, not much research whatsoever, Fair enough, I'd like to dabble a little bit in, certain things. Like, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But, like, I know, for example, like an Egyptian, you had Nephthys. But then again, they probably would make her look a bit funny, as well. With the, with Nephthys. And the same, with the Norse gods, or Norse mythology. There's more of them there than they are. Excuse me. Then there are, other things. Really, some cards, like for example, Boudica, and I think this one here is supposed to be Joan of Arc. Like, I know Joan of Arc is supposed to be a saint. That is a saint, not a goddess, and not a siren. So, why is Joan of Arc in here? And why is Boudica in here? Yes, like I said, I know, especially in Britain, Boudica is, looked up to. A lot of people respect Boudica because she was essentially one of the main people to boot the Romans out of Britain, which was quite an accomplishment, especially back in those days. But regardless, why is Boudica in here? She's a historical figure. And, like, I think she pretty much was, grasping at things like she got there for beauty. Helen of Troy. You had heaps of other things were crossed that way. Like, for example, Hathor. She's the goddess of love, but she's also the goddess of beauty. And same as Aphrodite. But seeing they already used Aphrodite and Hathor, why didn't they put Venus in there? They could have gotten away putting Venus, and at least they would have been right if they put Venus. And I'm not talking about the planet. Venus, the planet, was named after the Roman goddess of love, Venus. So they could have put Venus there and put beauty. Why Helen of Troy? She's not a goddess. She, unfortunately, was pretty much a pawn in the gods' chess match. That's pretty much how I sum the Iliad. So, but I don't think she was actually aiming, for historical accuracy. Because if she did, some of these would not be put in here. But especially with the title, you know, gods and sirens, at least keep them as goddess, you know, gods and sirens, goddesses and sirens. Please keep it with the goddesses or the sirens. Things to do with that particular, you know, theme. That is your theme. So why, Stacy, did you put historical figures in there? I know some people probably wouldn't notice that. Did you put historical figures in here? But I noticed it. That's why I figured I went through it and I saw Boudica, like, going, why is Boudica in here? And now I just realised what Joan d'Arc is, and I gather that's supposed to be Joan of Arc. So, why is Joan of Arc in here? Like, to me, Joan of Arc and Boudica should not be even thought of for this deck. Plain and simple, they could have easily replaced them. Same as Helena Troy. I think Helena Troy, Boudica, and Joan of Arc should not be put in here. She should have got other goddesses from other religions and put them in this deck instead of going into history, because it's not just historical figures. If it's historical figures, then fair enough. Yeah, you can put Boudica in there. You can put Helena Troy in there, even though, you know, it's mythology. You know, we don't know whether that is true or not, even though we do know that it was a city of Troy. We do know that. We know that is a fact, there is a city of Troy. We know that is fact. But regardless, you know, why did she go into history, you know, historical figures, instead of continuing with mythology? If she didn't know, for example, of what to do with those particular meanings, she could easily just, you know, Google it. So, which goddesses did blah 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 blah. Research. You know, heck, there was more attention in the Gods and Titans deck than there was in Goddesses and Sirens. Plain and simple, there was more attention done with that. This one seemed to be a bit rushed and not much attention being paid. And Jimmy Manton, like, I don't know why he made Hathor pregnant. Now, there's no depictions, as far as I know, of Hathor being 9 months pregnant. None. Nada. So why is she pregnant? Because a lot of these other goddesses had children. Hera, you know, she had heaps of children. Like, she had Hephaestus, who she threw off of Mount Olympus. She had Hermes. She had Ares. She had Apollo. And there's probably a bunch of ones which she also had, but they're the ones that I know. I did not say Aphrodite, because she didn't have Aphrodite, and she did not have Athena. Athena was actually born by another goddess, I just can't think of her name. It was Zeus's first wife, who he consumed. And she was born out of his brain. That's how Athena was born. And Aphrodite, she was born pretty much from Kronos' seed, say the least, when they decided to slice his private parts. I don't know whether they sliced it off, but when it fell into the ocean and the foam, you know, hit the ocean, you know, Aphrodite was born. So, you know, once again, but, you know, like Hera had children. We know that Hera had children. Aphrodite. Aphrodite had children. Mind you, like Aphrodite was married to Hephaestus. Aphrodite had children with her brother, or more likely her, you could say, nephew, Ares, because they had a thing and they didn't want to start a war, so they married Aphrodite to Hephaestus. So, like, she had children. Yes, Hathor did have children. Well, we've surmised that she had children. But with Egyptian mythology, it goes, Isis, she had a child. She's in here. I'm not quite sure about Sekhmet or Bastet. I don't know whether they had children. Like, I know Bast was married to her father, which was Ra. So she is Ra's wife. Whether Ra and her had children, I don't know. And Sekhmet, I don't think Sekhmet would stay in one place long enough for somebody to knock her up. But what I'm getting at here is there's plenty of goddesses which had children. So why make Hathor look pregnant? And why were all the Egyptian goddesses done incorrectly? Yes, you can still have the background illustration to demonstrate who they are by oath. But you didn't, stay true to them. Like, you made them human. They are goddesses. They only half human, half beast. That's what they are. I don't know whether you were watching Gods of Egypt and you thought, oh, I'm going to do it that way. You're not doing them justice, Jimmy Manton. If you're going to go into Egyptian mythology and Egyptian deities, like you did it in, I think it was you did it correctly in the Gods and Titans, but you didn't do it with the women. I would like to know why. But I think this has been long enough for me ranting and raving. Anyway, would I recommend this deck? I probably would say yes. It's a nice deck, especially with the Gods and Titans. If you are like me, a stickler for accuracy and a stickler for history, and historical accuracy, then this could get on your nerves. This could really get on your nerves because there's a lot which is wrong. A hell of a lot is wrong. Which is very disappointing. Well, to me, it's very disappointing. But it's a beautiful deck. And as I said, for the Gods and Titans deck, it would be advisable if you knew a bit more about the deities. Because that can help you out with readings. It would really help out in that regards. And I think especially with this one, seeing that they had to go into history instead of into goddesses, it might be an idea to flush up, freshen up your history. Who is Boudica? Who is Joan of Arc? Who is Helen of Troy? What did they do? What were they representing? What were they? What did they do? But really, like what I said, not much care and attention was put into this deck. Stacy definitely dropped the ball on this one. And personally, historical accuracy, very, very poor. She could have done more research. A lot more research. And like she has got here one, which is voodoo, which is quite interesting. And I know for a fact there's a whole heap of voodoo goddesses in there. because I'm reading a book on voodoo. So there's a whole heap of voodoo goddesses that she could have explored. But she didn't. So, but yeah, it might be an idea to know a little bit more about the characters in here. I'm going to say characters because really, I'm very disappointed with this deck. Very, very disappointed. Anyway, if you want me to do a reading of this deck, you know, for you know, private reading, my Etsy channel is down below, so just click on it and book your reading through there. Alright, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and blessed be.